What is up, everybody? Welcome to the 21 Generals, Episode 5. I am Delthius. I've got AV Ultima with me. What's up, man?
Hey, dude. What's up? Good to be back.
Yes, sir. Okay, let me go over a quick recap of what happened last episode. If you guys are unaware of what's going on, maybe you just tune in, you're following me or something. We had Episode 1 and 2 on ToothAndTailTV, and then Episode 3 was over on Witty Pun 7's channel. And additionally, Jet Erickson did episode number 4. And now we are on episode number 5 here. So let me swap over real quick and kind of show what happened last time. Man, that is bright. So last episode, we had a couple Marauder matches or mercenary matches. We had the Child defeating Pigston. We had Rubba knocking out E308s, and we had the Gentleman winning match number 0, which was a mercenary and faction free-for-all. The factions could have won a neutral tile each, which would have been huge for them. But the Gentleman ended up taking 20 meat, which is good for him, because keep in mind, if you're a mercenary, the way you can get to the finals of the tournament is through acquiring that delicious meat. So here's where we are as far as the Pocket World map is concerned. And we've got a couple good replays lined up for tonight. Looks like blue really needs to get a couple wins here. And green's doing okay, but red's definitely dominating. So if, and I think the Gentleman wrote in, I'm not 100% on the rules, but I think there are some rules, like if one faction pulls too far ahead too quickly, then we might end a bit premature here. So hopefully blue and green can come back in this. But green doesn't look too far behind, just judging from the map real quick. And it looks like blue's actually about to... Actually, you know what? Tonight could be a real good night for blue, because they're almost capturing a territory against both their opponents here. They just need one more point against green and a few points against red, and they'll be back in business. So really cool to see what's happening in that regard. But I think we're ready to rock and roll for match number 1. AV, we're just going to do these in order, starting with match number 2, I guess I should say, with James versus Jacoby. And
sounds good to me.
This is a leader, like both of these guys are the leaders of their factions. So let me do a little bit of a volume adjustment.
Does that accrue a higher point victory if one of them were to win?
So the leaders, like, you remember the Pokemon rock, paper, scissors kind of thing we got going on?
Yes.
So the leaders automatically always lose that, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter if they are fighting an eco, an attack, or a defense.
Gotcha.
They always lose, because I think it's expected that they're going to win since they're the leader. You know, they're supposed to be so strong. But since this is a leader versus leader match, it's double points. So this is kind of in that 2-point bracket here. So regularly, with no Pokemon types involved, for lack of a better term, it would be 2 points to either team upon winning. But since they're both leaders, then they both lose double, which ends up they both win double too, if that makes sense. So 4 points on the line either way here.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. If blue can win, if James takes this match, then that's another territory for the blue team, and they really need that right now. So cool. Are you ready to go into match number 2, game number 1?
Let's do it.
All right, man. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got James, the leader of the Royal Knights, and his opponent up top, we've got Jacoby, the leader of the Legion. We got some balloon here. We got a couple tier 3. I always like to see that. And toads from both sides, which is kind of interesting, because I'm curious where the meta is now, because I think last time we were chatting, last Friday night, we were talking about, oh, you know, toads they got nerfed, maybe they're a little bit weaker, but both players opting for that toad here, so maybe they're finding some kind of niche uses for the toads, like maybe against chameleons, or do you think it might just be like insurance against the lizards?
This is the 5th episode, you said, right? And we did 1?
Yeah, we did...
Okay.
I think we did one together. I think I soloed one, or I can't remember. I think we did episode 2 together.
Okay, so I guess some games have been played since then, and I imagine a lot of meta has changed hands. And it seems like, I guess we'll see when we actually get farther into the game, but it is a good chance that the Toads is sort of a insurance, as you said, against the Lizard. That's a good guess to make.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense because the word on the street is that the Lizards are pretty good, and if you don't have any kind of defense against lizards, they can get really out of hand, like we saw back
we saw
in,
that.
Yeah, we've seen that recently, but you remember, like, alpha and early days rather, lizards dominated, and then, you know, maybe a year later, players like Pyle and the Gentleman really use lizards to great effect, so I think lizard metas are always fun. You know, they can be a little frustrating to play against when you're getting kind of, you know, ran around a whole bunch, but it's so much fun to play in that style.
We're seeing James here go for the cams over the Falcons. What's your experience in seeing sort of the dichotomy between the tanky ground units and the DPS of the Falcon in that matchup? You feel that the Chameleons go ahead in that?
Honestly, I feel like it's the same way it's been forever, man. Where on paper you would think the Falcons win, but the Chameleons just do such a good job against the Squirrels. The Falcons end up with like nothing left and get ran over. And you know, I feel like that's kind of been the story of the Chameleon Falcon matchup even since the early days. But Woody Pun 7, aka Big Pit Matosh with the raid, man. I appreciate it, sir. How's it going, man? Looks like we're hopping right into this. James trying to get a little bit of harassment with these Chameleons, but backs up. And, you know, Jacoby's a better player than I am for sure, but I'm always confused by Falcon first openings, because I always think of the Falcon as this, like, mid to late game unit, you know? Like, wouldn't you rather have a skunk in his position early on?
Yeah, I guess Falcons are usually very good in that upfront offensive maneuver. And even, you know, as you said, skunks, great in the defensive position, as well as chameleons. You saw James there try to get some, like, back base pick there. So I guess you're right. In that sort of early game situation, the Falcons aren't as, I guess, utility as much as the other two.
Yeah.
Though in those rare circumstances, you can maybe like fly a Falcon over a cliffside or something and pick off, but you rarely see that.
That's always fun to see. I mean, sometimes you can see Falcons do good in early engagements because they do so much damn damage. Like, if you've got some decent micro, or if you take the right engagement, those Falcons can delete things very, very quickly. But I don't know. I feel like I would rather have more of a utility style unit to open, but it really didn't matter a whole much this game because we're not, like, clashing skulls with one tier 2 option. You know, both these players kind of hanging back, getting their second base up, getting their comp going. So we're going to approach the mid-game relatively unscathed here.
I think an issue with, I guess, that early game Falcon is that we've seen that they really require a lot of ground units to keep them alive, right? And as soon as that initial Squirrel T1 bolt goes down, we see Falcons like just disappear so quickly if there's a bunch of Squirrels shooting at them. Yeah. They're like paper. And we're seeing James here do anything? Or is he rallying? Yeah, he's rallying.
Oh, sneaky chameleon play. All right, and Jacoby doesn't notice this. Already picking off one pig. Now he's alerted. Yeah, this is always tough to identify and play against. You got to really stay on top of your enemy commander. Like, there was a moment where James's commander kind of went up to this, like, 1 o'clock position, that little tiny high ground, you know? And you got to be watching for rallies in situations like that. So Jack could be a little bit punished there, but one farm's not the end of the world. The problem is if James is able to do that over and over. But the bigger story here is that this balloon has stopped Jacoby from being able to get in and scout, and this boar is on the way here. It's almost out already. But so many Falcons is kind of a good answer regardless for the boar. So Jacoby's kind of composition that he was going for anyways should work out fairly well here against this push.
Do you think James is going to move out when that boar comes, or do you think he's going to try to take that next mill position and just take it to the late game? Because that mill position off on the 3 o'clock is going to be tough for, I think, Jacoby to hold.
Oh, here it is. And yeah, most of the time this boar is a timing attack. I think we've been seeing that a little bit consistent here. Like, the boar is not going to scale as well as like a badger or something, so a lot of times the goal of the boar is like blindside your opponent, and James got away with it this time. He had to invest in that balloon, but it stopped Jacoby from being able to get in there and scout this. And you know, I don't quite know the answer myself, but I think the general consensus at high level play at the moment is the boar it's one of those builds where if I know it's coming, then I can stop it. But if you're able to blindside somebody with a boar, then something like this happens, where James is just crushing through here.
He's going to get the boar kill here, but I think damage has been done.
Yeah, that was a very good attack. Keep in mind, Jacoby did like fully commit to a third base, so army value-wise, James was going into that for a big lead, but James had to get some damage in there to stay in this game because he was so far behind economically, and he certainly got it. Now, Jacoby isn't totally dead. He looks like he's going to try to hold off and get some forces back together. But I don't know, man. I'm liking James' spot here.
Yeah, and he sold off that boar to get that extra cash so he can replenish a bit quicker and perhaps go in for the killing blow once he's fully reinforced.
Okay, James looking for the killing blow here. He's got a lot of tier 2. He got a lot of tier 1. Here's all those toads. I think he's just wanting these toads to come in and just blap on the crunched up units of his opponent. The toads getting some okay engagements, but nothing like really insane. I think actually that single target damage on the gristmill helped get that down quicker. And it looks like Jacoby will clean this up, but he's got nothing left now, man. It's 0 farms at 12. He's got the standing army, but James should have a new one out on the field here soon.
Ooh, yeah, that was a scary move. If he didn't take out that mill, that was an easy counterattack from Jacoby, but now he should have some to reinforce, and he's going to see these mills here at these farms. He's going to know, ooh, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, Jacoby making his last stand here, but he's not going to have enough, and that's going to be a point on the board for James, which if you're rooting for the underdog is what you want to see here. You know, blue really, really needs to gain some victory points. Cool. All right, so that was a pretty fun mid-game centric match. We saw a nice little board push there. And are you ready for game number 2?
Let's do it.
All right, man. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, spawning in the left, we've got Jacoby. And his opponent to the right, James. And
I think going off that last game, usually when that tier 3 comes out, there's usually a measured response of some kind. But as you mentioned, he never got that scout off because of the balloon and all the other units up front there. So he was never able to fully understand what his opponent was doing.
Yeah.
Wonder if James will take that opportunity again.
That was such a smart use of the balloon, too. Like, definitely a tip of the hat from me, from James, because, again, like I was saying last game, you know, these boar strikes, they're strong, but if they get scouted, most high-level players kind of know how to deal with it. And that balloon, you know, just denies so much scouting information. It is 120 food, but, you know, what is that? That's like a squirrel warren in 3 squirrels, right? So you're a little bit behind on army putting that balloon down, but just completely shutting out your opponent. They don't know what to expect. Seems good. And, you know, if you're Jacoby, maybe you learned your lesson from that, you know? Like, if I'm in Jacoby's shoes and I see James get up to a second base, throw down a balloon, like, I'd probably just assume he's doing a boar move, you know what I mean? Like, do you think the balloon is enough of a tell to kind of make that assumption? This is where, like, the mind games come in, you know?
Oh, it's for sure a huge tell, because, you know, a balloon puts you in a defensive position. And if that's not, you know, if it's not placed in a position where you could potentially get a third base, let's say, then obviously,
oh, yeah.
You know, totally obvious, person's trying to hide something behind them.
That's a really smart observation. Like, where is the balloon placed, you know? Is it to turtle in 1 to 2 bases, or is it to try to, you know, maybe deter your opponent from the third? I think the third is still a good sign there, right? Like, I think that was another thing Jacoby maybe could have done better with his scouting in the last game was kind of realizing, you know, hey, James isn't really taking a third, so what else could he be doing? Well, it's probably tier 3. And here comes a little bit of a chameleon coming out. I'm super hyped for Wolf Badger, man. I hope we get to see that, but we'll see. Alright, chameleon coming in. Jacoby knows the chameleon's probably on the way. Gonna get a squirrel and get out.
I really like the use of these chameleons. Them being so tanky and not a whole lot of units being on the field at this time, he can get these, you know, pickoffs.
Yeah.
Just to do a little bit of damage to Jacoby.
And even a single squirrel, I mean, that can matter at high level play, you know. Any kind of advantage is huge. Another chameleon attack coming in, and this is where this gets so much more effective, like when you can't keep track of your opponent's commander. You know, if you're getting harassed by chameleons, my big piece of advice is just you gotta stay on top of where your opponent's commander is at all times. Because look at this, I mean, two pigs.
I love this.
2 pigs down for free, and then the chameleons are just gonna sneak right back out.
You know, it's kind of sad. This is almost the role the lizards used to play. You know, those quick pick-off corner farms. But in the case of the chameleons, we're not seeing anything dying for the case of James here. He's just getting stuff for free as long as he's moving correctly. It's fantastic. And scouting that wolf warren in the back.
Oh, we got that scout very quickly, too. That's huge for James. You know, sometimes you can get that tier 3 scout too late, and it's like, well, what can you do? You know, it's out in 10 seconds anyways, but he got that super early, and he decides to go ahead and grab his own tier 3 warren, and, you know, now that boar is only going to be maybe 20 seconds or so behind the wolf, so as long as it doesn't get supply blocked. And again, James looking for some more chameleon harassment. He's already racked up 140 food with these sneaky boys. Coming in for another 60 there, so 200 food. Okay, finally losing both chameleons. But if my math is right, he got 260 food worth of value from those chameleons. And you can even argue more than that because 180 of it was in farms. So then you could kind of calculate, well, how much farming time has Jacoby lost rebuilding those farms, you know? I mean, that kind of counts too.
Just put down his second tier 3 one, going for that wolf badger, as you said.
Oh, man. All right, so I'm kind of hoping, like, tournament-wise, that James wins this one, you know, underdog, so Blue can get some more points on the table. But, man, I want to see the wolf badger. It's on the way. We've got the wolf here, so is Jacoby... I feel like since he put down that badger warren, he just wants this wolf to come over here and buff his farming a little bit. But let's see if James is probably going to push, like, right when this board comes out, and that's going to be rough for Jacoby because he'll have 180 food, or 360 food probably tied up into the badger, you know, that won't be on the board. Like, if James hits right now, and here he goes...
Yeah, good thing he's speeding up the badger production with the wolf.
So it should come out.
So, man, it's going to be really close.
Oh, if Jacoby could just buy a little time, and that boar being so slow. Oh, I didn't even think about the badger warren being buffed up, but yeah, it is steroided, and the badger is here. Just seconds too late for the beginning of the fight, but Jacoby is still in this. He's got the units that he wants. That badger is revved up. That badger has got the buff. And that badger is kicking a lot of ass here. Just melting James's army. And now Jacoby looks like he's in a great spot.
Selling off a tier 1 and a tier 2 so he can replenish his tier 1 fully. And building on the front lines, very nice.
Dude, I think I've casted so many games of Tooth and Tail at this point. And I think that's the first time I've seen the wolf buff, like... buffing a warren to get it out, like, just in time. Like, that's insane. Like, if he didn't do that, you know, James might have just ran over him. The badger would have been another 5 or 10 seconds out, and that would have made a huge difference there. And now this is, as bad as it sounds to say, you know, Jacoby's basically got to make a mistake at this point. Like, he's so far ahead. Oh, but the wolf went down. But, man, still, this badger, oof.
Those toads doing tremendous damage, though, and whoa, getting a little close there. Luckily, he has those pigeons to supplement a little bit. He's got to be real careful. But I think at this point, he's got so few warrens. Still a little tech here that I think as long as Jacoby's careful, he should be able to pick this off.
Yeah, this is going to be a victory in the bank for the red team here, which is cool for us because that means more Tooth and Tail. We got a match 3 on our hands.
Awesome.
All right, so both games were kind of macro-y, but we saw a little bit of a difference on either side. And, you know, I feel like Jacoby did a good job of reacting to James's boar push that time, right? He's like, oh, you're going to go for a 2-base boar push? Well, I'll one-up you there, and I'll defend that with a 2-base wolf badger. But, okay, you ready for game number 3?
I am.
Let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I agree with gentlemen in the chat. I think trying for the boar there might have been too obvious because Jacoby was just ready. And speaking of Jacoby, he's spawning here in the bottom. And up top, we've got James. Now, one thing I didn't get a chance to mention last time was that Jacoby ended up dropping the toads, right? After he saw James didn't have lizards in the first game. And in the second game, Jacoby didn't have the toads either. And now we see James pulling the lizards out. If James, maybe I'm giving James too much credit, but if he kind of realized, like, hey, Jacoby saw I don't have lizards, so he dropped his toads. You know, does that mean he's not going to take lizards in game 3? I mean, I'm sorry, take toads in game 3, and now I can take lizards? If that was it, then that's a nice 200 IQ move here by James. And 5-farm single coming out. Jacoby should have smelled it by now. He didn't see... No, he did see the Warrens, so... Yeah, now we got a 5-farm double.
Barely spotted it.
Alright, here's that one lizard. It can be done if you do this right. I think Nishi was the one who really kind of mathed this out. But it's hard to tell sometimes, and yeah, he's not going to risk it just yet. Can I get a couple more lizards together? That water might come into play, you know, maybe backing out, heal into that water, coming back in. Oh, man!
Oh, no.
That is the worst. Great defense there by Jacoby, but when you sacrifice those lizards, that pig barely lives, feels bad, man.
Yeah, this is what we're seeing. The lizard play is fun, it's interesting, requires a lot of micro, but when it comes right down to it, that sort of similar chameleon play seems much more safer in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Well, the problem, too, is James is hoping to pull a fast one on his opponent. You know, these 5-farm double openings are another one of those things where, you know, high-level players, you know, if I can sniff that out, then I can defend against it well. I think Jacoby got a little bit lucky there, not losing that pig. I think I would have expected the pig to go down, but it would have been fine, you know, because so many lizards died and James's eco was delayed, but not losing the pig there, I feel like puts Jacoby in a really, really good spot. And like you said, man, you know, James almost, like Scooby-Doo villain style, he almost got away with it, you know. But just barely, that Warren barely got scouted, and then Jacoby knew how to react, and this is crazy. Super early wolf. Super early wolf. Let's see if the scout happens here on James's side. You know, sometimes I love those early tier 3 rushes, but it's not normally the wolf. You'll normally see fox or boar if you're going to do something like that.
You know what? I think Jacoby's confident enough to do this because of that early game win for him, and in this sort of defensive position, we've seen that lizards aren't the best in that situation, so I think he has the opportunity to, you know, keep James on the back foot just enough time to get that wolf out.
Yeah, he's doing the old Artosis win ahead, get more ahead style here. Instead of trying to end the game with a timing attack, he's going to try to just compound his advantage. And here we go, James.
He might be even see the tier 3 if he decides to not go down the hill.
Oh my god!
Here.
Oh my god! Oh no!
100%.
Are 3 lizards enough? Yeah. Well, he goes home. That actually might have been a mistake because these lizards will attack. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He gets it. And Jacoby didn't sell either. Wow, dude. That is insane. That gets James right back into this game. 3 lizards.
That's crazy. I didn't see that he scouted it, so he just happened to head by and see it. That's real lucky.
I think you're right.
Good patience from James as well, not to just go right down into the lower ground to sort of scout it out a little bit and assess the situation.
I think you're right. I don't think James knew that was there. I think he was just trying to backstab and grab a pig. And another thing I want to say, too, is really confident move by James to burrow home and, like, keep spending his money. Because if it was me, I would have sat there and babysitted those lizards, you know. Made sure the tier 3 warren went down. But James is like, nope. I know these units are going to be able to get it. I can go home. I can keep my macro going. A little engagement there, but James backs out. Actually took a bad fight there, according to the army graphs.
Yeah. I'm not sure what his objective or what he was hoping for there. That was a tough spot to fight. Choke point plus some water with units on the other side. So that was a bit of a win for Jacoby.
Oh, yeah.
And saving up now for a little bit. What's he going to do? All right, going for that badger. Oh! Wolf.
Yeah, trying to fight in that water with all that tier 1 against skunks, that was definitely pretty rough. But James, trying to get that boar out. He wants that boar to end the game. And Chameleon, another Chameleon attack coming in. James, all series long, has just been really good with these, pincer moves, this side aggression. Constant harassment. One Chameleon going down there, though. It's a bit of a blunder. Did he see the tier 3, though? He did. He didn't see the second tier 3.
Oh, did he not?
Yeah, the second tier 3 was put down right after he left.
Oh, no. That Badger Warren was going up, but he sold it before the Chameleons made it, so he had to re-put it back down. So I guess he doesn't know if Jacoby replaced it, but he stopped the initial one from going up.
I see. But I think the bigger issue that I'm worried about here is that Jacoby hasn't scouted this boar, and the boar is going to be up in like 25 seconds or so. Third base on the way for Jacoby. And I'm worried, man. Are we going to see a repeat of last game? This Badger is going to be nowhere near done. The Badger's about a minute out still.
That's interesting. That Chameleon sort of push might have just bought enough time for this boar push to come out. Yeah, I imagine it, and he'll attack right after it comes out, right?
Yeah,
he bought himself enough time.
I'm still not over those 3 lizards knocking out that tier 3 Warren that he didn't even know about. Like, oh man.
And the wolf isn't even out yet. Yeah, this is great timing. Wow, look at that range in that boar, just sniping him from across the river. That's perfect, actually.
Yeah, and they do so much bonus damage to structures nowadays. They can just melt down those warrens very quickly. Here we go, big engagement. The wolf is here, but there's no badger. The wolf goes down almost immediately. And if James micros this well, this boar should live to fight another day. But he lost a lot of his other units, but he still has several chameleons up. I definitely like that attack for James.
Okay, and James trying to use the water to heal up the boar. I can't tell if it's working or not. Isn't it usually a different icon? But going for a side attack here on his other mill. But this shouldn't do anything. Should, yeah, cause him to move back. But no pigeons on the side of James, so his units heal a bit slower. But now that Badger is out for Jacoby.
Yeah, and if Jacoby's Badger micro is on point, as it often is, this might be a little difficult for James. Now, he does have chameleons and lizards and falcons, which can get in there and burst this Badger down. And wow, James actually running over that attack. The boar really helping delete all the supplementary units for the Badger. Isolating the Badger and knocking it out from there. I think that's the modern style to play against that sort of thing, and I actually agree with it a lot. I think it's really smart because the knee-jerk reaction is target that Badger, but then you get kited around by the opponent microing. You lose a lot of value. Your units are not attacking the opponent's units, if that makes sense. Like, they're just trying to run and hit that Badger. So what James did there was basically knock out all the supporting units for the Badger, leaving the Badger alone and then dealing with it. So really smart play there. And that's what Blue needed. So that's going to be a territory for the Royal Knights. Yeah, and the gentleman super fast to update the map. We'll take a look at that real quick as I get the next match up. Who do we have next? We have match number 4. Let me do that. There we go. Okay. So match number 4 is going to be between QQ and Kerpa. Bam. And let's take a look at who these players are representing. QQ is a Penal Squad General, and Kerpa is a Marshal for the Royal Knights. Eco versus Eco Pokemon type matchup. 1 victory point on the line here either way, since this is in the 1 point slot. And what does that mean as far as Pocketwatch? Actually, this is an important match, because if Kerpa wins this, then Blue gets another territory. So that's huge. So QQ really needs to defend for Team Green here. And let's see if Kerpa wins this best of 3, he flips a territory, and that is huge, since Blue is not looking so good right now. So are you ready to hop into game number 4 here?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, spawning in the bottom left, we've got Kerpa. And up top, his opponent, QQ. Both players with that boar, so boar has been pretty popular so far tonight. We've seen it in every single game. And again, I think it's for that big timing attack, you know.
Do we ever see that timing attack on 1 base? Like in this sort of situation, we have Kerp on tier 3 high ground. He could just shore up for a little bit, get that boar out, and then push out if he wished. You know, I imagine QQ would see that coming.
Yeah, I was about to say that exactly, but hold that thought, as we do have some early aggression here. Looks like Kerpa tried to open up with a 5-farm double, and QQ scouted it. I wasn't quite paying attention in the very early, so I missed kind of who started this gunfight. But I believe it was Kerpa, because QQ's up a farm. And I think Kerpa's unfortunately just gonna have to go home and say, well, crap, that didn't work. and now he's behind a farm. But yeah, I think you kind of thinking out loud figured it out there, where I believe the reason we don't see 1 base tier 3 pushes anymore is it's kind of easy to deduce, right? It's like, well, they don't have a second base by X point in the game. They're obviously going to try to 1 base me. And Kerpa getting that pig, losing a lot, but he does get the pig, and this gives QQ a nice window to counterattack.
Given Kerpa's position, it might be pretty hard. I wonder if he'll leave the sanctuary of his high base to try to hit these squirrels, out in the open, but I think that'd be dangerous. I think he's good just sitting up here and then keep just unable to push up that high ground. Oh, going in for a wraparound while he's out in the middle?
Oh, Kerpa! Oh, I thought Kerpa was just gonna completely run past these squirrels. I think that would have been the play. Like, he does okay there in the field, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just go back to the base, start picking off the squirrels one by one that are rallying up, start killing pigs, and then you put QQ in this position where he has to make a split decision, like, do I continue attacking or do I go home and defend? And either way, it's kind of rough because Kerpa gets the tempo, right? Like, Kerpa's lizards are hitting before QQ, but Kerpa believing he could take that fight, and QQ wins it, and now he's in a really, really good spot to continue pressing forward. And I feel like this is over, unfortunately, because Kerpa's got the lizards, and it's still that old school classic thing where lizards are just not good on defense,
Yeah, we're seeing that clear right now. I mean, they're putting in that damage, but just that long range on the pigs and the worms themselves seals the deal.
All right, a victory there for QQ. Well done. And rocking and rolling here. Game number 2. You ready?
Let's jump into it.
3, 2, 1, go. All right, in the bottom right, we've got Kerpa needing a victory here, and his opponent up top, QQ. And, you know, from QQ's perspective, this is a really big win for the Penal Squad as well, because right now, you know, the blue team's kind of got them on match point. You know, a single victory point's going to flip a tile. So if QQ gets a victory here, that gives them a little more breathing room, which is what they really need. And we see, kind of cool, we got the cavalcade of Tier 2 from QQ. He's got 3 options there, where Kerpa's kind of got the menagerie of Tier 1 units here, with Squirrel, Lizard, and Toad having a ton of options available. And, you know, if Kerpa gets aggressive with this variety of Tier 1 units, it might be rough for QQ, because he's got Squirrels. You know, he doesn't have Moles, he doesn't have Toads or Lizards or anything like that. I guess the Skunks can help. You know, they're kind of designed to deal with Tier 1, but we'll see. Kerpa getting aggressive again.
Yeah, it was a bold choice to go for 8 farm before your first Warren. I guess he just assumed Kerpa wouldn't try the Lizards a second time, and he's lucky. Otherwise, he would have made it here sooner. But it looks like he's going to get a corner farm in the very least.
Oh, yeah, and leaving with not losing a single Squirrel, that's great. His economy's not even really that far behind. Man, I gotta quit yapping during these early games. I just expect these players to go 8 farms, but I'm actually kind of curious what Kerpa's exact build order there was and what QQ saw in response to it. You know, because QQ... I mean, this is a big map, and that's another thing, is you probably wouldn't expect to get rushed on a map like this. Here comes QQ with that big counterattack. This time around, I think Kerpa will be okay to defend. The Warrens aren't exactly where he'd probably like them to help buffer against an early attack like this, but he's got plenty of units.
Looks like he's opting to take out this cabin. Kerpa putting down a mine. That's going to be a bit scary if QQ decides to push out for any type of attack.
Yeah, I like that mine. I like it more so because QQ didn't scout it. You know, it's so much more powerful when your opponent doesn't know about it. But now QQ sees the Toads in the mix as well.
Interesting sell.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, fascinating play here.
Oh, here's that big mine hit! And it gets a little bit of damage done, but Kerpa wasn't quite in position to capitalize.
That is a fascinating move. Kerpa putting down the mine and then taking the mill to maybe force a reaction out of QQ, and then sort of lulling QQ in a false sense of security when he sees that the mill's not even there. Unfortunately, Kerpa wasn't there to capitalize, but I appreciate the mind games going on there.
Yeah, that was really smart. You place the mine as kind of the reward for the trap, essentially. And then that gristmill was the bait, right? Where QQ was like, oh, he's expanding, so maybe I can come in and hit him. But that does suck Kerpa wasn't quite in position, because that mine did a lot of AoE damage, and if Kerpa could have jumped on that, he probably would have taken that fight very nicely. For a single mine, you know.
So they're having ferrets and boar on the way. Going to be a tough defend.
But we got chameleons here, and these toads do so much single target damage now. They just melt through those warrens. But QQ wins that fight phenomenally. The thing is, Kerpa did spin those toads to knock out warrens, which, you know, can help, but he doesn't. You're trading standing army for structure, right? So QQ's army looks a lot better now. Both players, couple farms, so we are intending to go to a mid game here. We got that dreaded 5-minute mark coming up, and QQ with that tier 3. That's going to be really hard for Kerpa to actually scout it out.
Trying to fish out those mines.
So we're going to see... Okay, actually, that's a huge scout for Kerpa. He did see the tier 3 there. But what can Kerpa do about it? He doesn't have any good anti-boar type things. He doesn't have any falcons. You know, he doesn't have a badger or a fox. He's just gonna have to deal with it. These chameleons will do something, but really the only thing Kerpa could do to deal with this boar, in my opinion, is another boar. He's gonna try to build a bunch of emergency mines, but here comes this push. And this looks real good for Kerpa, in my opinion. Oh man, these chameleons though!
Oh, unfortunate.
Smart play by Kerpa, the old school chameleon trap. Trying to get those ferrets. And here's the boar. This is such a tier 1 heavy army from Kerpa. I'm super worried, but these chameleons get in. They end up, wow! Kerpa somehow. What just happened? I guess he was able to keep his squirrels back while the toads and chameleons got rid of that boar? Jeez.
Yeah, I was going to say that QQ was in a fairly interesting position where he placed himself in the river, but it looked like the toads got enough hits on his squirrels, and him keeping his squirrels alive allowed him to DPS the boar down.
What just happened? I feel, was it the toads? Like, did the toads single target damage get the boar? Alright, look, this is super rare. Super rare on ToothAndTailTV, but I think after this game, I do want to take a closer look at that engagement. Because I'm a bit confused, and so is a lot of the chat as well. So I'm curious. I'm curious what happened there. This is only match number 2 in the series, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Making sure I'm not crazy. This looks good for Kerpa, though. He's slow playing it. I think he's just waiting to get his chameleons up, and he's going to go in. I think it was the toads, man. I think the toads... They got if I remember correctly, they got an AoE damage nerf, but they got a single target damage increase last patch. So I think the toads just kind of connected onto the boar on top of the chameleon damage. And I think Kerpa kept the squirrels back out of the flames, you know, and waited until the boar went down and then moved in. I think that's what happened. But I do wanna watch that fight again. All right, Kerpa coming in to try to seal the deal here. This is a lot of toads. And targeting down the gristmill there actually kind of does make sense because, you know, you kill all the pigs and all those various targets that aren't units that the squirrels could have been shooting, you know, between all the different pigs in the gristmill. Just knock out that gristmill, and all those different things can't soak anymore. The QQ might hold on for now, but this is, I think this is a blue victory here.
Yeah, Kerp had tremendous army advantage. 4 chameleons come in to tank that front line. And now, QQ on the verge of starving, but luckily has that side base.
Yeah, that nice little hidden base coming in handy here. And here he comes. This should be the end. This definitely is. 6 squirrels, a falcon, two pigeons, and a dream here for QQ. But this is smart from Kerpa, you know. There's no reason to rush it. Might as well make sure you get the best possible fight. Kerpa probably a little surprised there that he didn't just win the game, but QQ taps. And again, we're going to go to match number 3. But before we do that, I want to very, very quickly look at that fight again, because that was insane. That was insane. I'm wondering if I'm giving Kerpa too much credit or not. Like, what I think happened, and if this is what happened, then really good job by Kerpa. I think he used the chameleons and toads to target the boar while keeping the squirrels back. I think that's basically the story, but I'm still a little bit confused because I would think the boar would have been able to kill the toads before they connected. You know what I mean?
I believe the fight was at 6 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. We're almost there. We're at 4 minutes flying through. Oh, it's either that or, you know, maybe Krupa just got real lucky in the engagement and I'm giving him too much credit, but we'll see. We'll see. This is a little bit of TNT theory crafting here. This is a good notepad situation. All right. So here's the big attack from QQ. So what's he got? He's got 12. So the battle starts. We've got 12 squirrels, handful of pigeons, a couple ferrets, and the boar. First 12 squirrels, 6 toads, and the chameleons. So I really feel like it's... Let's see. Yeah, he microed the toads and chameleons. He pulled them through, actually. You could see that. I think he flipped back and forth between the toads and chameleons, pulled them forward while keeping the squirrels back. So that actually was a really nice micro move from Krupa there. Very well done.
Yeah, it looked like the flames weren't quite making it to the clump of squirrels. So
yeah,
keeping those squirrels alive, real important.
Yeah, he was flipping back and forth between the chameleon and toad, single rally, and keeping those squirrels back. If he would have just rallied all up there, then those squirrels would have got roasted. But all right, anyways, let's head into game number 3. Are you ready?
Let's jump in. Underscore.
3, 2. Oh, sorry, I just launched it. You might be a little bit behind me. I forgot about the countdown. But on the bottom left, we've got Krupa. And his opponent to the top right is QQ, changing his deck up pretty dramatically this time. I am at 15 seconds. Sorry, I screwed up the countdown there. But we've got a deck that I love on QQ's side here. Ferret, Fox, Turret, Balloon. Show me how it's done, QQ. I love this style. And I want to see it succeed. This style, though, from QQ is a little map dependent. That's one of the weaknesses, and it's also like very all in on a very specific strategy. But you know, sometimes that's the best decks, right? Like a deck that's designed to do a specific thing very well. If you're kind of trying to be all over the place, then you become this jack of all trades where it's like, yeah, you've got an okay early game, you've got an okay late game, but you're not really good at any of it, right? Where if you're a hyper aggressive deck or hyper late game deck, you know, you're a bit more focused on a singular strategy.
Yeah, you've set yourself on a game plan and you're able to execute it step by step. You're not really improving your way through a game.
Mm-hmm. And that can sometimes bite you in the butt in Tooth and Tail because you could get a super aggressive deck and have to take a defensive role because of the map and things like that, but generally you can find ways to make it work. Like this map, for example, QQ could just take this expansion right here, kind of where the squirrels are passing, and start setting up defense and leapfrogging forward, but that doesn't always work. You know, sometimes there are maps where that leapfrog style just isn't viable. There's nothing around your opponent's base, and a little bit of aggression here from QQ, but Krupa was not greedy. I think that was a bit of a shoulder check, you know, to see if my opponent's going for a fast tier 2 or something like that, but Krupa also with enough tier 1 there to defend it. And yeah, no harm, no foul, really.
Yeah, it's always good to attempt those attacks, especially when your opponent has that really annoying high ground next to your pigs. Could have turned out bad for Krupa, but good defense. Now he's got this high ground in the middle. Should have let him springboard into the rest of the map.
All right, QQ just taking this very aggressive stance. I wonder if this is just like... I was curious if he was just going to YOLO down the Fox Warren there, right? Which is kind of an interesting way to go about it. You know, if I'm staying super aggressive, then maybe my opponent just doesn't have time to scout or isn't going to think I'm going to do something like follow that up with a tier 3, you know? But Krupa gets a really good scout off that time. Really checking the back edges of the base for any kind of shenaniganery.
Well, that was a thorough scout. Really expecting that there'd be something more than what he does, but QQ holding on to 180, not deciding for a balloon. Very defensive right now.
Yeah, and Kerpa deciding to go for the boar. He saw that QQ had put 3 farms down. Now QQ is trying to farm up even more. And I don't mind how greedy QQ's being here. He's building all this defense, so you know, you're going to want to do things like take a bunch of farms, take a tier 3 Warren behind that. But I don't know, man. Like, the clock's ticking here. Once that boar is out, we're going to see what we see every single time people build boars, and that's a timing attack. And now the fox is on the way, but I'm a little worried. I think that fox is a bit late. I don't know if it's going to be out in time for the big boar push.
I like the position that QQ is in right here. You know, there's some trees, there's some structures with the balloon behind, but knowing Kerpa, he's no doubt going to find a better avenue of attack.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, going exactly where QQ wants him to go.
Like from the northwest or the southeast or something. QQ!
Exactly.
Sign my mouse pad, dude.
Whoa!
double fox here. That makes me happy. As a commentator, I'm very hyped. And 3 balloon. All right, QQ. Let's see it. Let's see it, man. You know, this balloon style might not be bad against the boar if those balloons can get some good hits. But all he's got are squirrels, and squirrels are not good against Uncle Butters.
Wow, going hard, selling off a bunch of his units just to get those tier 3s out.
Yeah, and tech switching over to lizards a little bit too. And really going for all these balloons. Is this gonna work? So many balloons here. Like, I don't know if this attack will hold. There's a lot of toads, a lot of chameleons.
Look at that. He's not going into the balloons. I assume this is just a measured response against the, okay, I know he's going boar. I'm going to try to stop that timing attack. And maybe, you know, by the time Kerpa comes in here, that main base doesn't really matter anymore. Just try coming for my second, huh?
Yeah, you did eventually get that scout off, and this is real smart. The boar can just kind of solo bolo up here and try to take out that grist mill, but he's going to move over towards these warrens, and the boar does go down. One fox warren goes down, and the other fox warren as well, but one fox is here for QQ. He did lose a base, but that was the base on its way out anyways, and he's going to clean up the rest of Kerpa's army, and now a huge counterattack coming out from QQ. He's got the fox here. He's got a ton of tier 1, but the chameleons! Oh my god.
Whoa! He's on a bit of a timing here. That boar did end up reinforcing, and he's got to keep up that micro. Those games coming in. Oh, 1 HP.
Oh gosh. Nice defense here from Kerpa.
Yeah, these chameleons coming out huge right now. Though we supply blocked everywhere else, that boar is going to come out and might make a difference. I think considering that he still has that fox, it's going to be tough for the boar to get in and do damage in terms of counterattacking. Yeah, and those chameleons just tanking those front lines.
Another chameleon going down here. And the boar shouldn't be too much of an issue for this fox to deal with. Ooh, this is getting a little scrappy. But I like being in the position of the fox player here because you can kind of take it a little bit slower. You can poke and prod your opponent. And Kerpa does have chameleons. He does have lizards in his deck. Both things can deal with a fox, but it's easier said than done, especially when you got a good player like QQ who can micro that fox effectively.
Here's what I'm wondering. Is it best to sell the boar here, get 360 food back, and just go heavy into tier 1 and just overwhelm the fox? Is that crazy?
Yeah, I like that idea. I like maybe going like a ton of lizard toad, perhaps? But this is still awkward. Like, do you...
His army is so slow moving.
Like, do you just not try to attack into this balloon, you know? Oh, Kerpa's commander died!
Oh, no!
Oh, that is going to be game, unfortunately.
Maybe he spawns back and pulls them back just in time. Oh, I think the fox is able to chase, unless he moves some squirrels in. Oh.
Yeah, the boar getting a ton of value on the way home, but Kerpa was already... He wasn't out, but he was in a tough spot, but just losing your commander like that, especially with your army walking into 4 balloons and a fox, it's a big yikes, man. And unfortunately for Kerpa, he took so much damage from that. He's going to fight his heart out, though. This is a very important match here. But, man, that kind of sucks, because that had us scratching our head, like, what do you do here if you're Kerpa? And then that commander goes down, you know?
Yeah, was it to the 4 balloons? His commander just walked in and got obliterated?
I think so. And they did change, I know Eel changed the AI on the balloons to make it target the commanders a little bit less. Or there's some kind of caveat where your commander doesn't just get immediately doofed by the balloons all the time, but I think he did just like straight up run into the balloons, and it's like, well, you know, it happens, man. Really cool series. That was a lot of fun. And that would be QQ winning that one. I screwed up on my scoreboard for a split second there, which again is exactly what the Penal Squad needed. Let me show you guys the map. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. It's too high. There we go. All right. Bam. Oh, that was the wrong thing. That was the spreadsheet. Here's the map. This is what you guys want to see. Nobody wants to look at numbers in Excel. This doesn't work right now. This is fun. Okay, and we got 2 points for the Penal Squad, which is good. That's what they needed. They were on the brink of losing another territory. And with that, let us get into the next match, which will be Brandy versus Lego Man. '96. And what do we got going on for this one? Brandy versus Lego Man is match number 7 here. We got Eco versus Attack, but it's a 1-point match. So if Lego Man wins this, he'll get double points. He'll get 2 points since he wins the type matchup. And if Brandy wins, he gets 1 point. And right now, Legion and Penal Squad are pretty even on the board. So no territories at stake for this specific match, but every victory point matters. They're always important matches. And are you ready to get into game number 7 here, AV?
Let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, over on the left, we've got Lego Man and his opponent down to the bottom right, Brandy. I think Brandy is a newer player. I believe we saw Brandy in match number 1, in week 1, but I don't recognize the name. Yes, cool. I see you in the chat saying, "Go, Brandy."
Awesome.
So welcome. We're happy to have you. And we got Squizzard, Chameleon Badger, pretty cool deck here from Brandy. Meanwhile, Lego Man got a lot of tier 2 options with the Wolf to boot. No crazy Wolf Badger combo from Lego Man, but that Wolf alone, you know, to buff up the Falcons in particular, or Chameleons, or even like we actually saw be really relevant earlier, you know, buffing up those Warrens, getting units out a little bit faster. I mean, that was nuts. That's the first, man, I don't think I'm exaggerating by saying I've probably casted 200 games at least at this point, you know. I've never seen that really make a difference. You've casted a ton too, man. Have you ever seen that really, you know, razor edge kind of timing with the Wolf like that?
I think when Wolf first swapped to that sort of ability, we were seeing that a good bit because people were sort of experimenting with it. And then when people started to understand, started to get a bit of a fall off. But yeah, it has been a while since we've seen the Wolf use that close effectiveness. Yeah,
that was insane. So Brandy, I actually love the opening from Brandy here. And I'm not just saying that because they're new. I was experimenting with this on the ladder earlier. Oh, no. All right, they're selling it. So this is different than what I had in mind, which is not bad. But, like, but hear me out, AV. So you open up 8 farm into double lizard, and then you get a gristmill, right? And then at that point, you can kind of do whatever you want. Like, you can eco up, or you can go into tier 2 or more tier 1. But you have 6 lizards that you can run around on the map with and you know, be annoying and harass and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a really fun style to play. And Brandy gonna try to come in here with some aggression, but Lego Man's got plenty of squirrels, is gonna defend just fine, and Brandy's gonna have to go home for now. Chameleon...
You know what sucks is that 2 or 3 lizards died to that cabin there as they were trying to reinforce.
Yeah, these cabins, when they're so close to your base, can be difficult. Sometimes, you know, we kind of theory craft, where it's like, oh, what if I leave the cabin there and it helps me on defense, but I don't think we've ever seen that really matter pragmatically. So the second base coming down. Lots of lizards for Brandy, and the chameleon's on the way as well. You know, Lego Man's in a good spot. He took a good fight earlier on, but Brandy's definitely still in this game. And Lego Man doing a good job with a little bit of a scout about. Oh, there you go. Now he sees the tier 2. And so far, you know, Brandy's also got some pretty good vision. Doesn't see the Falcon Warren, but that just got put down, so there's no way they could have at this point. But Brandy knows Lego Man's got some tier 2 coming. And Brandy's second base is a little bit ahead of their opponent. But 4 chameleon. Lego Man's starting to get real greedy here. 4 chameleons, 2 falcons. If he can get away with this, his army is going to be crazy in the mid-game. You know, 4 chameleons is insane. Like, the amount of punch that they have in a fight. Okay, Lego Man putting on the aggression here. Let's see if Brandy can hold on. They got the 2 chameleons of their own out, and this is the big fight. Trying to target down these chameleons. Good job here by Brandy. Trying to target down that falcon as well, but just doesn't quite have enough units left over. However, chameleon is still alive, and these lizards are helping out. But this falcon is just getting so much work done. You know, since Brandy doesn't have a whole lot that can actually shoot up at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like a interesting holding, I think, right trigger in this case on the Falcon, and that moved the chameleons over there, but they can't attack Falcon, so they sort of just stood there as they died. The fight could have gone more equally, but unfortunate there.
Yeah, real close for a minute there, but eventually with the Falcons, Lego Man's able to get enough momentum to push through and take match number 1. All right, are you ready to hop into game number 2?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, spawning in the bottom right, we've got Brandy. And their opponent up top, Lego Man. Okay, we've got some moleage here. I don't think we've seen moles tonight, have we?
We have not.
Yeah.
First signs of it.
Let's see.
And there is a little bit of high ground in the back there. If Brandy did want to try something.
Oh yeah, that's the nice spot right there. But no sneaky mole rush this game.
Nope.
Let's take a look at the maps. Brandy's got a nice spawn on the double high ground here, reasonable natural. And Lego Man, it's a little bit rough, but at the same time, not too bad. He's got this natural. He's got a little bit of terrain and trees and whatnot outside that natural, make it a little bit easier to defend. And I guess he can try to go down, or well, really, actually, look at this map, man. This is kind of weird, right? Like, both second bases are within spitting distance of each other, and the third bases are in the same position, and they're also kind of awkward as well. So maybe I'm thinking maybe more of an aggressive game here, and Brandy's got some cabins available to them as well. So let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, I bet the skunks, if they decide to build them, will be a huge turning point here, especially near those naturals, as you mentioned. There's a lot of terrain around there, and there's a lot of choke points for the skunk gas to really start building up. Slowing down a bit, probably waiting for that tier 2. What's it going to be?
All right, throwing down that skunk warren. So far, just a little bit of a build up here. Both sides getting that tier 2. We've got Lego Man going for the chameleons and Brandy going for them skunks. So yeah, so far, you know, both sides playing well, just getting it going. Nothing crazy just yet. I'm kind of waiting to see some second bases though. We're getting to that point, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're Brandy, you've got a little bit more options, because Brandy could take both the cabins here. And I actually love cabins in one base positions, because even if they got one of these, you know, that's a huge economic boost. I think it maths out to like 12%. You get like a 12% better economy if you've got 9 farms versus 8. And Brandy getting aggressive here. Needs to be careful. Skunk gas coming down. Lego Man pushing back for now, but just trying to creep forward. Oh, this is this is intense, you know. If this battle could very well decide the game. And here we go. These chameleons actually engaging a little bit far forward, but nice moves here from Lego Man, being able to stealth them back. They tanked very nicely. One of them ended up dying to that skunk gas, however. Oh, and Brandy's trying to get away with the skunks, but one goes down. And Lego Man is going to take that victory, but not by a lot, you know. Lego Man, they traded 1 for 1 on Tier 2. Lego Man got a couple extra Tier 1 over Brandy there.
There was a moment there where the lizards came in from behind and started attacking the squirrels, but I think what that means is that a few of them died again to the cabin. So who knows what 1 or 2 more lizards could have done there in that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real close. And Brandy, thanks for the sub, man. I apologize, I don't have sub emotes, but I see you got that badge. I definitely appreciate the support. And Brandy's got the cabin knocked out. The campfire is available, but this is definitely a 1-base game now. We're almost at that 5-minute mark. We're going for aggression. We're trying to end this early. The lizards coming in to try to jump in on these skunks, but those chameleons are in such a good spot by Lego Man. That was a rough choke there, and really good positioning for Lego Man there, having those chameleons out front. One skunk did go down, but a lot of lizards died in the process. And Brandy gonna try to make this final stand, but Lego Man's army is pounding through a very, very bruiser-heavy composition here. Brandy's gonna try to defend. I think Brandy's build was good there, but some of the attacks were a bit awkward. I think this terrain like favored Lego Man a little bit just from the angles where Brandy came in. You know what I mean? From the the top right. I think if Brandy would have maybe swung over, like, it's hard to describe, but I just kind of cambered it, like in between bases 1 and 2, like more in the open, they could have had a better chance. But these chameleons and skunks like really thrive in these choke pointy engagements, and I really got to tip my hat to Lego Man. By the way, he set up such a good trap there in between that small choke in the terrain. You know, you want to get those skunks, so you run in there, but the chameleons are out front in the right position to knock down your opponent. And Lego Man gonna get some points on the board for his team. So let's take a look at the standing there. Once I can get it together. Bam. Alright. So we can see a couple points there going to the green team. Lego Man grabbing a couple, 2 points. So very cool. And let's keep chucking. What do we got next? So we had James, so far tonight, we had James flip a territory. And then QQ pulled it back. QQ prevented Kerpa from flipping a territory. And Lego Man got it a little bit closer for the green team against the red there. And we've got Weasel versus Parsival coming up next. Let me update the scoreboard. Parsival. While I got everybody here, I do want to do a couple announcements, guys. We've got the Jet Ericsson's Viosho Quilnes tournament number 2 coming up on Sunday. Please, please sign up for that, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Europe Central or something. I'm not exactly sure on the European time zones, but it's 2 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be on Jet Ericsson's channel. I'm going to be co-casting it with him. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can sign up in the Discord it by like I think Massive Stealth set up the bot to where all you have to do is like thumbs up the link, the pinned link. So if you go to the Discord in the tournament section, let me do it real quick so I know I'm not crazy. So yeah, I go to the Discord, I go to the tournaments, I look at the pinned messages, and then I just click on that, and then all you have to do is click that thumbs up, and then I'll sign you up. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a custom map tournament, which is really sick. Let's take a look at some of these maps. I might actually just to show this off because some of these maps are really cool, and a lot of people in the community worked hard to make them. So what do we got here? We got the 1v1 dump map, but this one's pretty sick. Like you can see the spawns here. It's very symmetrical. I remember this. I think a lot of these were from the original Highway 404. Okay, this is version 2. Yeah, look at that. Look at that map. That's beautiful. I do remember this one. To me, this just screams like ferret balloon style. And let's see what else we got. We've got Ginbu Ravine. Yep. I think Best Sakia made some of these maps. He really likes making maps for games in general. This one looks cool. This is a little bit more of a standard map, I think. You got like a natural and a third, and then there's like a fourth that'll be more difficult to take. We've got Grey Marrow Hollow. Oh, this one doesn't have a sick thumbnail. But I remember this one as well. I think you're like slowly going down the high ground here. And there's this little attack path up top you can take. We've got Sumerian... I'm sorry?
I said that's very unique. Wow.
Yeah, the Grey Marrow Hollow, that little attack path, especially with lizards and chameleons being so relevant these days. You know, that can make a big difference. Okay, what else we got? We got Sumerian Sun. I don't think I remember this one. I believe this is a newer map. I don't remember this in our last custom map tournament, but it looks really cool. A nice large map that can have some good late game potential. I like that there's only 1/4 on it that you kind of have to fight over. And I like that little tree in the middle too. Law and Order. Didn't Eel make this one? Oh, is there not a... Yeah, Eel made this. I do remember this one. This one's sick.
I remember this map.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the map by Jed Erickson, 1v1 map, maybe, isn't it? So this is going to be fun. I think the tournament is kind of a typical, like, regular tournament, but the catch is the custom maps. So don't be shy, guys. It's just for fun anyways. Sign up for that. Again, that'll be on Sunday coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern over on Jed Erickson's channel. It'll be me and him casting it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And additionally, I've kind of prioritized the 21 Generals lately, but I am back in the swing of my Feast replay show, so keep sending me replays, please, ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com, and I'll keep making this casted content for the community. And time for that, we're back on a schedule. We're just doing Friday nights, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And again, the 21 General is kind of taking priority over it for the moment, but once this tournament's over, we'll just be right back to the replay casting. Alright, that's enough yapping. Let me get things set back up here. Alright, cool. So, we've got Parzival versus Weasel coming up next. Let's see what's on the line for this matchup. We've got defense versus attack. So, Weasel's got the advantage. Ooh, this is a 3-pointer, too. So if Weasel wins, he's going to get 6 points. Or if Parzival wins, he'll get 3. 1, 2, 3. So if Weasel wins, that'll actually be just enough points to capture a territory. No, wait, he'll be 1 short. Yeah, so... but if Parzival wins, then he'll get the territory. So yeah, if Parzival wins, green flips 1, and if Weasel wins, red flips 1. Or red gets real close to flipping 1 anyways. Jeez Louise. Alright. I think I understand everything. I think we're ready to go. We've got this one, and we got one more after that. So 2 more best of 3s here. Are you ready to hop into match number 9, game 1?
Let's pop right in.
Let's get it. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, spawning in the bottom left, we've got Field Marshal Weasel. Oh, wasn't he Lieutenant Weasel before? And over to the right, we've got Parsival. All right, I remember Lieutenant Weasel for sure, and then I think
making his way up.
Yeah, and I've seen him as Citizen Weasel as well. So, I think I saw him as Lieutenant Weasel first. So maybe he like joined the army, became a lieutenant, retired for a little bit, you know, became a citizen, realized, and then he had that like typical action movie moment, you know, where he's like a lumberjack out in the woods. And the sergeant comes out. We need you for one more time. Comes back, and now he's a field marshal. So we got the boar here. That's been a reoccurring theme tonight. These boar pushes, and meanwhile Parsival's got what I kind of coin as like the bruiser deck, you know, looking for an early or mid-game victory with a variety of Tier 1 and Tier 2 units.
Alright, it's clear that the boar has become pretty popular, at least last time we casted. Is there someone we can point at who made that happen?
That's a good one. I know James, for a while, was using the boar a lot. Maybe James, if I had to say who popularized the boar, but it's been used a lot by a variety of players. I don't really feel like it's this guy's style very much. That is a tough one. I think this guy typically uses like Badger as his Tier 3 when he takes it.
It's pretty nice when the unit that you love using gets buffed, right?
Oh yeah, that always feels great.
I've been using this the entire time.
Exactly. Or I kind of like, you know, as weird as it sounds as like a Fox player, I don't mind when Fox is a little bit weak in the meta, because then I feel like I'm being a hipster. Does that make sense? Like, I'm doing this thing that's weak, so if I win, I feel extra good about it. I don't know. So, Chameleon's on the way for Parsival, and also on the way for Weasel here. Pretty mirror stuff so far. I think one player or the other like grabbed a gristmill and tried to fake their opponent out by selling it. But again, we've kind of passed that. Okay, I was going to say we're about at the time where you need to take a second base if you're going to do it, and both players throwing down their second bases right when I was starting to into it. You know, once you get to like 2:30, 3 minutes in, you know, if you don't have a second base by then, you're looking to bring the pain. Speaking of bringing the pain, here comes Field Marshal Weasel. One Chameleon going down, both Chameleons going down, and Parsival retaining one of his. However, lots of squirrels left over here, and that second Chameleon's going to go down. Good target firing from both sides, and Weasel's getting a bit of an edge. He killed a Warren. Ooh, this Chameleon's huge. I don't think it's going to die. Is it going to die? It actually dies. That is huge for Weasel. He got 3 Tier 2 for 2 and a Warren, so definitely a nice attack there for our Legion player.
That was looking scary for Parsival, but that Cam came in and did a great defense. But as you said, losing a lot in the defense. Bit tough for him to move through that choke point, though. He's probably going to live for a while.
Yeah, that's a nice... you can't complain about this one base, especially if you're defensive. And, you know, we were talking earlier about one base Tier 3s. If I spawned where Parsival was, I would go for it. I'm pretty sure I would. You know what I mean? Like that little tiny choke, it's going to be so hard for them to attack into you. But Parsival doesn't have a Tier 3. And I'm curious how Weasel wants to play out his little bit of an edge he's got. And doesn't look like he's going to do anything drastic, like, you know, build massive Tier 1 or try to go for the boar. You know, he's just getting stronger, you know, throwing down a couple extra farms, getting up to 4 Chameleons. And 4 Chameleons is super scary, man. Let's see how this game goes from here. Parsival is a little bit down, but he's not out, and especially if you're Parsival, you just want this game to drag out. Like, the difference in food, that little advantage that Weasel has, it becomes less and less the more food is available. It's just like basic math, right? Like 500 food versus 300 foods, a bigger difference than 1,200 versus 1,000. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Parsival, you're fine hanging back. You know, maybe trying to get out some farms, just macroing up. But Boar Warren here.
Yeah, do we see that Boar is great in these, I guess, high ground attacks when he inevitably goes for it? As you said, yeah, Parsival's in this great position to sort of hold this high ground next to this, I guess, potential 5th or 4th base here, while he, macros up in those 2 bases to the 2 and 3 o'clock position.
Yeah, this is a wonderful spot. If you look at the mini map, there's really only this main entrance here into 4 bases. So
yeah,
you can't complain about that if you're Parsival. However, I am a little worried because here comes the Boar, and we've seen over and over tonight what happens when a Boar hits the board unscouted, and Parsival hasn't been able to get deep enough into his opponent's base to really see what's going on here. And he doesn't have the Falcons. The 4 Chameleons is nice. They can get through the flamethrower, they can deal some damage, but I think what you really want here are some Falcons.
Yeah, I know. It's surprising that he hasn't added those on, instead deciding to go for some skunks and then additional.
Now he sees it, but it's too late, unfortunately, because he scouts it, and 5 seconds later, here's the Boar.
Oh, now he's going in for an attack. I wonder if he thought that it's really late or something.
Yeah, that's actually smart. He's just like, let me try to attack before the Boar gets out on the field. But there's no way he could have known that he scouted it like right before it was spawning. And the Boar just wrecking over that heavy tier 1 composition here from Parsival. And it looks like we're hopping into match number 2 here shortly.
That game just sort of ended, didn't it?
Yeah. That's smart from Weasel, He won a big fight early on, and then he just kind of hung out, got a little bit bigger, got that Boar, and went for it. And I understand completely why Parsival attacked right there. He was just trying to hit before the Boar hit. He realized his composition was just going to get railed by that Boar, so makes sense. But unfortunately for him, there was a lot of bacon very quickly. And ready for game number 2 here?
Let's jump in.
Let's get it. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, spawning in the bottom. Off of victory here, we got Field Marshal Weasel. And his opponent up top, needing to get a point on the board to tie this series up, we've got Parsival. And this time around, Field Marshal Weasel is changing it up. No tier 3 in either decks here. We got some ferrets and turrets, which again is a fun style, but it kind of fell out of popularity, I think mainly because moles, right? Because moles just make turrets a lot worse, because those moles are pretty cheap and they can tank and crit those turrets down really quickly. However, there might be an opportunity for this ferret turret style to come back, as the moles aren't quite as strong as they were the previous patch. They're still, I don't know as well as some other players, certainly, but it feels like to me moles are still viable. They're you know what I mean? They're fine. But that's the way the meta goes sometimes, and if players aren't playing moles, then maybe there's a bit of an opportunity to sneak in some units like those turrets.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It seems like the chameleons have sort of shifted into the roles that the moles did have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Tanking in the army composition.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing great in that role at the moment.
6 farm double here. I believe Weasel started it, but Parsival responded very nicely, and both players just kind of like, you solved my puzzle. I'm not going to go crazy. But as I say that, well, no. Actually, I think Weasel's 3rd Warren was in response to Parsival's 3rd Warren. Gotta be real careful here. You can get blindsided in these, like, pre-8 farm comps very quickly. And, I wouldn't hate to see Parsifal move out because Weasel put their Warrens in a very vulnerable spot. But is going to decide against it, which, again, I totally understand. There's always that defender's advantage of being in your Warrens, even if the pigs aren't helping to shoot. So both players just kind of chilling for the moment.
I'm hoping we get to see those ferrets because they're great when they're used, when they're just used in general. I feel like I haven't seen them the last few weeks that we've been casting. It's kind of sad. They're awesome when they're microed appropriately. But it seems like the micro taken to use them is just a bit too much in the grander scheme of the game, and that the higher numbers just sort of overpowers them.
You remember those 3 lizards that sniped that tier 3 Warren?
I do.
That's it, man. That to me just warrants the spot. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, lizards, there's still this niche unit, and I like that a lot. If they were too strong, then they would just be overrunning every single game. But man, I love seeing things like that. Or like the lizard gentleman used to do it a lot. That like last ditch effort, like sell everything you got, build 24 lizards and try to base race. I think that kind of thing can still be done. And having one thing I've always liked about the lizards is having them in your deck just opens up such a variety of playstyles. You know what I mean? And sometimes maybe the right thing is finding a core 5 units that don't really need a 6th unit, if that makes sense. And you can kind of flavor that 6th unit with whatever you want, and you flavor it with those lizards. Because they're not perfect in every situation or in every match. But man, when you can get them in there and snipe a tier 3 Warren like that, or swap into a lizard thing later on, or even just have like 9 lizards to run around and wreak havoc on the map, it can make for some really interesting games. But we've got a macro game afoot here. Both players getting into second bases a little bit late. I think both players wanted to be aggressive, but have been doing a really good job scouting and haven't really seen an opening, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if I attack in, they've basically got what I got, but they get defender's advantage. So we're starting to get into that like Cold War situation a little, where we're staring at each other, building up, but neither one of us can really find that attack opportunity. And here come the ferrets, and that is gonna exacerbate things.
Looks like Barstool's coming in, though, before that's going to happen. Bringing in his cams up front, doing a ton of tanking damage. Yeah, the skunk gas is being set down, and a bunch of tier 2 going down in it, and his tier 1 is sitting in it as well. But him taking out a bunch of farms and backing out.
Jeez, those 3 chameleons went down so fast with the help of that skunk gas, man. That was insane. But the map says Parsifal did well there, or the graph, rather. And I suppose that's true. And I think the big thing, like you said, was the farms going down on top of it. And that's the big issue with tempo, especially really in any RTS game, but especially in Tooth and Tail. By being the initiator, you gain this advantage of, we're fighting on your territory. So if I get the edge, then you're losing structures, you're losing farms. And it's, being the initiator, you're taking the risk, because you're attacking at a defender's advantage, right? But Parsifal just slamming through. Maybe he's just got the right army composition here. It looked a lot more even to me going into this, but Parsifal just with the good angling, with the right army comp, maybe with some good micro here, good target fire, ties the series back up 1-1.
Yeah, it's really sad. He came in while his ferrets were building, and then he sort of got put on the back foot. And typically, you see ferrets used from an offensive position, even though ferrets can be good defensively. In that sort of situation, that's not where you want them. Sort of was really lackluster. Would have probably liked more tier 1 or just a different tier 2 in general.
Yeah, that's a good point. He invested in those ferrets to kind of break that little bit of a standoff they were having, but Parsifal initiated right before, and then you have, 120, 180 food stuck into these ferret units that aren't really going to help so much on the defense. But here we go, match number 3. You ready to get into it?
I am ready.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, launch.
Launch.
And we've got Parzival here, kind of in the middle right of the map, and his opponent to the north, Field Marshal Weasel. Got a wolf this time around. Got a snake as well. So a little bit of variety. This is a big, weird map here, but surprisingly, the rush distance between the two bases is kind of short.
Yeah, no doubt we're going to see some early aggression, or at least aggression earlier than the rest of the games we've been seeing.
Yeah, whenever
especially for Weasel here, he's going to have to expand way out in front of his main, and I guess that's why he sort of put these squirrels in the front lines and going for the 4-farm double.
Yeah, he's going for it here, and Parzival sniffed it out very quickly. And you know, again, this is the issue with trying to do some of these early attacks against good players, is they can respond to it well. But Weasel is getting away with it so far with some good target fire. You got to be careful. Very nice control on Hopper. 1 HP on Hopper though. Ooh, wow. Gotta get the Warren though. This is actually still going fine for Weasel.
Yeah, not bad considering.
Yeah, lost an extra squirrel or two than they had to. But I was about to, like, give Weasel the tip of the hat for that Hopper control. You know, keeping the HP low so you can be out in the front. But just barely losing it to 1 HP. And it was still good control. It was just real close. And you know, these short rush distance maps, this is where these 4-farm double attacks can be real huge. I think that one squirrel could have been pulled back there. Now the question is, do you double down? Do you keep going? You know, they got some damage done. They knocked out a Warren already, which is big.
Yeah, Weasel had the unit advantage for a little bit there, considering Parzival lost that first Warren, but that's not really the case anymore, and I think it's pretty dangerous if he does decide to push.
Yeah. Unfortunately, losing that Hopper and a little bit of other minor micro decision making there lost Weasel a couple extra squirrels, but I think that could have worked. You know, if Hopper didn't go down, if Weasel would have kept another couple squirrels alive, that might have been all the momentum they needed to really push over the top and get Parzival to the point of no return. You know, they almost killed another Warren. You know, both those Warrens got low. Like, I feel like if the second Warren went down and then Parzival stuck on 3 squirrels, like, it's over from there.
For sure.
But we are going to stabilize. I feel like that rush went well enough for Weasel to where, you know, they can approach this early to mid-game in a good spot. But Weasel doesn't want to stop. You know, Weasel's not trying to farm up. And this might be dangerous for Parzival, who did try to farm up. And now a lot of squirrels are coming here. But with the defender's advantage, let's see if it can make the difference. Good target fire on both sides. And again, Weasel's commander going down. Oof. Nice hold here from Parzival, though. And Weasel's just got to give it up at this point. Needs to go home. Needs to get some farms up. Man, losing... I think this was so good for Weasel, and it could have worked, but losing the commander twice, man. That's enough, you know?
You know, I'd like to think that Parzival held off on finishing that corner farm until he confirmed that Weasel wasn't trying any more aggression.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good point. Because that's the most vulnerable farm right there. And also, placing these Warrens in the back was pretty smart. Like, it's safer in a weird way. It's safer from the follow-up attack, which is what Weasel did. Where ideally, if you think Weasel's going to push off for a minute, you might want those Warrens up front so they can help tank. But here's the counter push from Parzival. Does he have enough to just win the game right here?
That hero lizard!
Yeah, these lizards getting some serious work in from the side. That extra DPS from that unit really coming in handy.
Tremendous, wow. That lizard was on half HP for most of that fight, just sticking it in and taking out 3 Warrens, I believe. That's huge.
Yeah, Warren going down there from Weasel. And Parsifal's in good shape. Just gonna go home. I like this, not overcommitting. Kind of re-rally, reinforce, move back out, and almost tripling the unit count here of his opponent is Parsifal. And really great, really cool match. I think that was a great example of how the 4-farm double, even when scouted, can still be viable. I think Weasel made a couple mistakes, but it happens. It's a hard thing to pull off, It's very, very knife's edge to do that right. But I think Weasel could have got there, and I think Parsifal's defense was awesome, and Parsifal's decision-making, like you said, being careful about that corner farm, knowing they could just counterattack and follow it up. Really cool match to end that series on. And I'm sorry, I gave the point to the wrong person again. I'm the worst at that. So Parsifal ends up winning that match. Let's take a quick look at our standing there. So that's 3 points for the green team against the red. And that is going to be a territory that the green team just flipped. Really cool. That's what they needed. So overall, tonight has been good for the sake of the tournament, right? Like, blue's got some territory back. Green's kind of evened up against red. At the start of the match, it was like red was really winning and blue was really behind. Green was kind of in the middle. Now it's like green and red are more even, and blue's catching up. So cool to see that. And we've got
how long is this war gonna last? What, I guess, is the win condition?
So there's
for these teams.
There's 1 or 2 win conditions. One of them is just risk style, last man standing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is there is a set amount of weeks. I'd have to check the rules or ask gentlemen how many weeks it is exactly. But there is a set amount of weeks, and it's not a crazy amount of weeks. I want to say somewhere in the ballpark of like 5 or 6. And at the end, if 5 weeks. Okay, I was close. Yeah. So if the 5 weeks end and there's not just one faction remaining, we tally up who's got the most tiles at that point, and they're the winning faction. But that's not the end of the tournament, because then we go into a regular single limb style tournament from there, where the winning team makes it, and I think a couple of the mercenaries make it. I think it's an 8-player tournament at the end, with the 6 players on the winning team plus the 2 highest ranked mercenaries.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So pretty cool.
They just end up beating each other at the end.
Yeah, it's like our team won a 7-man tourney, not 8. Okay, my mistake there. 7-man, it's an awkward number for a tournament, because faction leaders get a bye. Yeah, but they still have to fight. You're just saying they get a bye the first week, right? I'd have to review the rules. But yeah, it's close. That's close. So, anyways, let's take a quick look at this last match. Let me set up the scoreboard. Faction leaders go to the semifinals automatically. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, 7-man tournament. Technically 8, but one of the players gets seeded to the semis immediately. Okay, so we're on Child versus Araloo. And I'm
seeing a third name here.
Oh yeah, you're right. This is a free-for-all.
Okay.
So this is match number 10. Yep, this is a free-for-all. And how can I...
So are all 3 fractions in this, I assume? No mercenaries?
Yes. Yeah, no mercenary. And whoever wins is going to get 4 victory points, and the losing teams are going to get 2.
Okay.
And how this... I'm trying to remember the rules for the free-for-all. So if you win 2 matches... I remember now. So it's a best of 3, right? If the same player wins the first free-for-all and the second free-for-all, I think they just straight up win, right? And if different players win the first and second free-for-all, then they go into a 1v1 for the third match. So I think I'm actually just going to disable the scoreboard for this because it's a little bit awkward for multiplayer games. And we're going to hop into it. Match number 10, free-for-all, game number 1. Are you ready, AV?
Let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got Araloo. Spawning to the left, we have the Child, and spawning to the right, we've got Big Pimpatosh. And to note, these are all mercenary players here.
Got it.
They don't have to be, but just the way the match worked out this week, they're all mercs, representing their various teams. They're all
now,
mercs.
In these sort of
but
free-for-all 2v2 situations, this is where the map spawns can get a bit crazy sometimes.
Yeah. We're all mercenaries fighting on behalf of the factions. But you don't have to be in this match, if I understand it, right, gentlemen, or Tosh? It's just the way it worked out. The mercenaries were the ones assigned to this. So yeah, these maps are where the map gen can really matter. Although this round, you know, obviously Araloo gets the best map gen. He's got this nice 4 bases down here. But the other players didn't get screwed. Like, they have access to a natural expansion each. So, you know, you can't be too unhappy about that. However, if this game does go super long, then Araloo has a very clear advantage. So if you're Tosh or the Child here, you need to start devising a game plan where you don't let Araloo just sit around and get up a million owls and falcons and balloons. And nice 5-farm aggression here from Tosh, getting some damage in with these lizards.
You know, it's fascinating, these types of games where, you know, you're scouting and you see that your opponent and his units aren't there. And then in that case, you're wondering, is that an opportunity for me to attack their base, or, you know, go 2v1 on the person he's attacking?
Right.
Or, you know, just sit back and eco. There's a lot of things going on right now compared to the normal Tooth and Tail game.
Oh, man. Tosh is
looks
about
like
to
we're
be
seeing
my
that
hero.
2v1 happen here.
Oh yeah, this is it. Blue and green both going in to poor Araloo. Maybe they've both identified, like, not necessarily trying to do this to him, but I think they maybe both identified he's got, like, the best map spawn, you know? So they're like, we can't let Araloo just sit around and take all these bases.
And now the Child coming in with a huge army in comparison. If Pimp sees this, what's his response?
Alright, the Child trying to get some more aggression in. Araloo holding down the fort, man. This is rough for him, but you know what? He hasn't taken a whole lot of damage. I think he lost that pig twice. But he's holding the fort. He's gonna lose another pig here, but he's getting damage done in return. He's killing units. You know, that was a really effective trade for Araloo. Just straight up food-wise. I think he killed like 4 or maybe even 5 lizards there. Didn't lose any squirrels. He did lose the pig, which sucks, but he's doing a good job, I think, for considering he kind of getting pincered attacked here. And Big Pimpatosh with that quick owl and a turret to kind of tell his opponents, hey, go attack someone else.
Yeah, he's in a great position to do this. Definitely not surprised.
You know, one owl can still be scary if you micro it right. You know, if you sit back, you wait for all 8 of those mice, you come in, you send those mice in, and rinse and repeat. I mean, you're going to get value. Child, man. He's not screwing around this game. He's got a ferret, and this ferret is really going to screw up Araloo's plans here. Oh, especially... Oh,
I'm not there to sell it either. That's going down.
Oh. Hey, you're happy for the Child, though. But he's going to lose the ferret for this. That balloon going up would have meant no more ferret harassment.
And Big Pimpatosh been so annoying out here in the middle of the map. But hey, going towards the Child now. Oh, sort of thinks better of it.
You know, he's running... Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Woody Pun's like, I'm curious when people think how I played this. And Tickleman is like, pretty awfully so far, Pimp. Got him! Wrecked him! Alright, the balloon coming down for Araloo. And balloon's got a hell of a range. Just can kind of defend that second base, but I don't think all the way. Especially not against these ferrets.
I guess to an extent they're not wrong. Like if he would have went, squirrels with the child going squirrels and that sort of pincer move we've been seeing, Arlu would probably be out of this game. But
hey,
that's not what
you
we're
know
seeing.
what, man? Owl number 1's here. Owl number 2's on the way, and Tosh has almost a fully saturated second base.
The table's about to be turned.
Turning some tables. Let's see. Here are the mice. Where are the mice
Setting the
going?
owl out there. It's really funny. It seems like Pimp has no units, but he's still just chilling back here, just doing his own thing. Oh, almost taking out that mill. Is he gonna get it? Oh, very close. Wouldn't have been too bad considering there's only one farm on it, but everything matters here.
Oh,
now it looks
poor
like Pimp's
Heirloom.
coming in through the back while there's sort of an attack going on at the front. He's getting bullied this entire time.
Oh, Heirloom's been playing this so well, like, doing everything they can, but just gonna tap there. Constantly bullied by both these players here, nonstop. But that's I can't even really blame the map because Gentleman was talking about it previously, and I do agree. This was a very balanced map as far as free for all goes because it's not like Heirloom was the only attack path in. Tosh and the child could have attacked each other pretty easily, but
yeah,
both of them just decided to bully Heirloom right out of this one. But hey, man, that's the way she goes. This is a competitive game here. And now...
What? No.
We got double wolf coming up here.
Child, you just gonna let him do that to you or what?
Yeah, are you going to sit back and let him get to 4 tier 3 here, child? Come on, man. You got 18 tier 1. You got 4 falcons. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean...
Tosh can't even hit air units. Like, he's got 9 lizards.
Wow.
And continuing to batter on the ground force here. He's got some chameleons on the way. But this is your chance, man. Get in there. I think he's afraid of these owls. I don't blame him. That is a lot of free mice, but you can't sit around. Tosh's economy is through the roof. This is just going to go from bad to worse. This is the window for the child here. And he's going to move out now. It's so much food invested into units that aren't here. All those warrens worth of food. And I think he can deal with these mice. Like, he weathered that storm, no problem. These owls are going to take a while to replenish those mice. All these warrens worth of food, not doing anything for Tosh here.
It's working well, so there's a great wall, but
yeah. Buffering some damage.
To man those walls, unfortunately.
But Tosh does have such a good economy, not going to be able to get these juicy tier 3 units out, though. And I think the child should be able to get it from here. Like, fighting these owls is a bit annoying. He's doing a good job trying to keep his falcons alive. Finally, these owls will go down. Tosh will tap out, and the child takes game number 1. So we'll just kind of have to make a mental note of that as we hop into game number 2, since I did disable the scoreboard.
The child, yeah.
Yeah, child got a point. Child got a point. And
interesting choice to go 2 tier 3s and 3 tier 2s, and I don't think any of those units got out. That situation, how confident do you have to be? It's a big move.
I would have loved to see what would have happened if Tosh got there, because he was going big, man.
It's a lot of speedy mice.
He would have been on 2 wolf, 2 owl, like 6 chameleon. That would have been insane. All right, man, let's get into game number 2 here of this free-for-all match. The child is up 1 point. Let's see what happens this time. You ready?
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, go. In the bottom, we've got Heirloom. Over the top right, up 1 match, we've got the child. And 2 left, Big Pimp and Tosh. Also, getting me excited this match with that Boar Fox turret. And again, this, as far as free-for-all maps go, this looks pretty fair. Each player has access to some bases. There's, no player is like stuck in the middle of the only attack path between the others. So let's see how this turns out.
If anything, I'd say that there are cabins neatly protecting the child on his way to his base.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't matter too much, really.
Yeah, the cabins are interesting because that gives the child the choice to go to like base 1.5 aggression, you know. It helps, really helps, a cabinet or two really helps that one base all in. So,
Tosh selling one of his farms.
Ooh, what are you up to, Tosh? What are you doing here?
Wait, turret rush?
Tosh, you're drunk.
No.
Go home.
Turret rush? I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, Airlu didn't see it! Airlu hasn't seen it!
The child has seen it.
The child's
That's
seen it.
Fascinating.
But he's not gonna rat. He's not gonna squeal on Tosh here. Oh, poor Airlu. Getting bullied game 1. Getting bullied. Oh,
unbelievable.
Getting bullied game 2. Oh, a couple mines going down. That's not gonna do anything. Mother of God.
Yes.
That is gonna buy a little time, those mines. The turret does shoot him.
He destroyed his mines. Wow.
But the turret's not quite in pig range. I guess pigs and turrets have the exact same range here? Is that what's happening? Oh,
I guess so. Just one tile away.
Yeah, maybe if the pig kind of walks over to be a little closer. But this turret will help defend against, defend his aggressive position here against other squirrels. He's got to get enough units where he can build a turret. He did knock out a pig there. Keep that in mind. What is the child going to do during all this? He's just going to go up to 4 falcons.
Yeah, 4 falcons. Yeah, playing it slow. I mean, this is an opportunity that he could go in with the 3 squirrels that he has to take out some of Pimp's, but looks like he's just going to allow Pimp to sort of take out his enemy and then just build up on top of this.
Yeah, if you're the child, you're like, that's great. I'll take a second base. I'll get up some tier 2. You know, Tosh isn't even on 8 farms of his own here. He is going to go home and build a couple farms and then keep this aggression up. But I think he just needs to get enough squirrels to kind of cover going in and placing a turret a bit in a more threatening spot. This is really cool, though. And here we go. Airlu, great decision-making there. Spots Big Pimpin' Tosh's units out of position for a split second. Jumps in on that turret. It breaks out of the contain here.
Beautiful play.
That was a big investment from Tosh to get that done, and you know, when all is completed, he didn't really get a whole bunch of value over Airlu. Really, all that did was let the child become the big fat pig over here with the second base with a ton of tier 2 and just ready to continue powering up.
Yeah, I'd like to think there's like a big overarching thought process here now between Tosh and Arlu that, okay, now the child's kind of ahead now. Maybe, without saying anything, we need to go after the child for these next few minutes, get him back on our level, you know?
Dude, the child's sitting over there, cigar, got his feet up on the desk. You know,
how appropriate of Belafide.
Yeah, he's living large. He's got a fancy aged scotch in his hand, you know? He's just hanging out. He's like lighting that cigar with dollar bills, you know? And Fox is the move for Tosh to get back in this. And again, those turrets might help deter his opponents from attacking him. But the child is not going to be distracted by that or worried about those turrets. Finds an angle, comes in, knocks out one, gets a little more damage done, comes home. Child being very careful these games.
Barely has any money for that Fox, just now getting it started. I feel like the child had an opportunity to go in for a death blow, but pulling back for now.
And Airlu does know about the Fox, but the child doesn't. Airlu putting out a couple mines, trying to build some chameleons, make sure they can't get blindsided by that Fox. But the child is just going to move in. Playing it super slow here. Super value. Go in, get something done. Don't lose anything. Let my units re-rally. Let my units heal. Rinse and repeat. Gonna put a little pressure on red too. Spread the love. Nice mine hit, but not gonna matter too much here with the pigeons healing up. Airlu's gonna try to defend, but the child just has so much more. Since the child was that player that just kind of hung back while Tosh and Airlu were going at it in the early game. But here's that Fox.
Yeah, taking out all his units now, pretty much only having the Fox left on the field. Kept a couple tier 2, but I think now that the child sees it, go into it.
Nice. Nice mine there by
Oh.
Arolu. That is the worst feeling in
Wow.
the world as a Fox player. Oh, man. That is rough stuff. Nice try from Tosh. A good comeback mechanic is that Fox, but the child going to decimate his opponent. Arolu with the Fox Scout. Great mine placement. And the child is doing good, kind of spreading the pain here, not letting either one of his opponents really have breathing room.
Yeah, he's definitely got a clear balance in his mind about who he's going for and who he wants to take out. And he's just sort of, as you said, spreading it out. Making sure he's not committing too far to one opponent.
Yeah, and after that Fox went down, Tosh was hamstringed, and that's it. The child is going to win the free-for-all round. Going to win match number 10. No game number 3, unfortunately, for that one.
What a sweep.
Yeah, good job from the child. Played really well both those games, which means the blue team is going to earn 4 points, actually, which is going to be enough to get them another tile against green. So yeah, we're ending. Well, we're not ending the week quite yet because we've got Tosh's episode on later on. Is that on Sunday? I'll check the schedule to let you guys know. But look at the position of the map now.
Does that mean that he also got a point against red?
Yeah,
because he defeated both. Wow, so he got 2 territories there.
well, he didn't quite.
He
didn't quite get the territory against red, but he got some points against red.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah,
I just updated.
But he did get one from green, so that was huge for the child. And look at this map. This is a lot closer. 8 territories for green. 9 for blue.
9?
10. 8, 9, 10.
That's close.
Wow. If my quick count is correct. 8, 9, 10 is where we're currently at. And don't go away just yet, everybody. Let me make a couple announcements. Please sign up for Jet Erickson's tournament on Sunday, guys. It's going to be so much fun. The official QLNES is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern. I will be casting that. Jet will be casting that. And that's going to be fun. It's been a long time since I've co-casted with Jet, and that's always a great experience. What else we got going on? We have Big Pimpin' Tosh. Let me double check the schedule for that. I know it's this weekend. I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday. Where can I get that? Probably in the casters. Yes, Saturday, 7 GMT. Okay, so that's cool. So we had my episode tonight. Tomorrow we've got Tosh's episode 6, and then Sunday we've got the Jet Erickson custom map tournament with me and him casting. So we've got Tooth and Tail content all weekend long. Definitely check that out. And if anybody is not aware what these other channels are, let me post them in the chat real quick. We've got Big Pimpin' Tosh's channel, and we've got Jet Erickson's channel. So, and again, as always, guys, keep sending me those replays. The feast is a little bit postponed as we get through the 21 General stuff. But I am going to get back at it. Maybe one of these weeks when I'm not as busy, I'll shift my 21 Generals episode someplace else besides the Friday night. That way on the Friday night we can do the feast. Because I think my replays are piling up to the point where I got to get to some of them. But okay, that is it, everybody. You got anything, Mr. Ultima? Anything to add?
Not at all. Another great day or night of casting.
Dude,
thanks again.
Thank you so much for being here. You're always welcome. And everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You're all a bunch of wonderful nerds, and I will see y'all next time. I'll see y'all on Sunday with Jet Erickson for the custom map tournament. Take care, everybody.
See ya.